Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I got another, I guess, COVID-19 84 update for you. If you didn't check me out over on Rockfin earlier today, I would encourage you to do so because we're probably not going to be talking about the overlap of the information I went over there, which was a lot, from the Boris Johnson stuff to the Army no longer doing basic training, and a lot of other things. So it's still free. I'm going to turn it off for free tomorrow, but I want to direct people over to rockfin.com/Jason Burmis, where you can see that COVID-19 84 update and an Epstein throwback I threw on there that you may have missed because, let's be honest, YouTube doesn't really promote my stuff. Anyway, and I'm going to start with this now because I'm fully demonetized, guys. If you didn't know, there is no way to super chat. And the way I'm going to get around that on AMAs is if you do give to my GoFundMe and you throw a comment down here and a question, we'll go over any of the comments and questions in the AMAs first from now on. And then periodically during the conversation, I'll refresh here and there. Now I really got to try to make that $5,000 goal. 2-3 grand was okay when I was still pulling 1 to 3 on the other thing, but I got a family to feed. And, I know it's economic tough times. It's only going to get worse for a lot of us, and it sucks. Meanwhile, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share, and let's get to it. Let's get to all the news because I don't want to play up and start with drama, but apparently this person here is saying that DDoS attacked him or took out some fake ad. People are mentally ill, man. I've said my piece about mentally ill people, and I certainly don't dwell on them or take out ads in newspaper. DDoS, does anybody know who I am? DDoS attacks. I mean, the fantasies these people, the lengths they will go to say that this whole thing is not real. It's very real, guys. And I want to point people again to the families in Kirkland because there's about to be a repeat of this in Pennsylvania. All right. And we're going to go over just a little bit of information before we get to Hart Island and how it has been basically reopened for mass graves in New York City. They are digging the mass graves. A lot of people doubted me. They were going to do it in the park. One of the city planners had said, I reported on that. A lot of people got angry. But there's now drone footage of them reopening a facility. Basically, they had buried people there before, but not stacks of 3 at a time. Since the time of HIV and AIDS ravaging New York City. Okay, but we'll get into that much later. Okay, so if you doubt this, I'm going to put this in the live chat. Okay, so there's the live chat. Anybody can go check out that and do it up. Let's see. So just to explain, because a lot of people keep talking about how China's got it under control, and later on we're going to show you 2 World Health Organization officials. Remember, this channel, harmful content, I still haven't gotten official email of why. I didn't get that COVID email, but, I went over it. Basically, David Icke and the London Real episode, it's made the BBC, and now YouTube has a whole new terms of service on COVID-19 84. And if you don't agree with this guy or a representative with these things in the back, apparently you're no longer viable as any kind of an authoritative source. Not that I was ever made an authoritative source to begin with. We all know that. Okay? So thumbs this up, sub, and share. So I keep pointing this out. When they did their lockdown in China and obviously lied about the numbers. Because if you watch de Blasio today, you got to understand they're not testing people post-mortem for this. A lot of people think that they're inflating the numbers. I'm seeing that. Guys, they're not testing people post-mortem, and they're not adding them to the list in many of these cases. They're saying they died of natural causes. This goes all the way back to Kirkland. And I know that a lot of people think that they're trying to cause panic, but that's not what's going on. All right, it's not. I'm sorry. So in order to get the supply chain going, what did they do? They moved the Uyghur Muslims into forced labor factories. Right after this, Apple, Nike, BMW, Samsung, Sony, Volkswagen, and others. Many others. All right? So I do want to keep talking about how the react before we get into anything more negative, right? Because there's going to be a lot of negativity. There's still time. There are still doctors out there that are speaking out against this and saying this is not a pneumonia, this is not a cold. There are some doctors, including this one now in LA, who is saying that he is very successful with the hydroxychloroquine. Let's play this. And again, you got to take all this stuff with a grain of salt. But he's saying that his patients are benefiting.
I do want to ask you about hydroxychloroquine. The president was pushing it pretty strong again yesterday. You said you have prescribed this. I want to talk to you about the effects you're seeing and what it might do for people who take it normally outside of coronavirus and a possible shortage of medicine for them.
Exactly. What we're finding clinically with our patients is that it really only works in conjunction with zinc. So the hydroxychloroquine opens the zinc channel, zinc goes into the cell, it then blocks the replication of the cellular machinery.
So again, they keep talking about Z-Pak, zinc, hydroxychloroquine, zinc. What am I hearing now? The tonic water is being recommended by some doctors as well, but always with zinc, okay?
It has to be used in conjunction with zinc. We are seeing some clinical responses in that regard. There are people that take it regularly for other disease processes. We have to be cautious and mindful that we don't prescribe it for patients who have COVID that are well. It really should be reserved for people that are really sick in the hospital or at home very sick that need that medication. Otherwise, we're going to blow through our supply for the patients that take it regularly for other disease processes.
But let's just stop it there. See, that's what I don't like. So you're telling me I've been diagnosed with this thing, and I have mild symptoms, and I shouldn't be taking this, and only it's severe symptoms? That doesn't make sense to me. And remember, they still haven't really been talking about, there's also a blood transfusion treatment we're going to be going over, okay? I think that's pretty important as well. Basically, plasma treatment from people they say they have their antibodies, and that's going to be a whole other issue we're going to get into later. But again, if I have mild symptoms, I think that it shouldn't even be a question on whether or not I should be taking this drug. When we're talking about blowing through supplies, well, we need to up those supply chains. That's how the military and industry could actually help if they wanted to.
What you're saying is you're prescribing it and it is working for COVID-19 patients.
Every patient I've prescribed it to has been very, very ill. And within 8 to 12 hours, they were basically symptom free. And so clinically, I am seeing a resolution that mirrors what we saw in the French study and some of the other studies worldwide. But what I am seeing is that people that are taking it alone by itself, it's not having efficacy.
Okay.
So there you go. I mean, this guy's Anthony Cardella. You can check him out yourself. And again, I'm still pushing the vitamin C transfusions. All right. I still think, that in conjunction with steroids, hydrocortisone, et cetera, are probably, good things. I want to get to this story here because I've seen this funeral home, Schaefer, okay, on the news. And for those people that are saying that this isn't real, why is he having triple the business? When all these cars are shut down, yeah, murders are up, but that's 1 to 5. That's not accounting for what's the big deal here. All right. And I think, we also have to look at the Orwellian nature of what's going on. Obviously, I'm not pro lockdown. I'm not pro military police state. That's not how we should have handled this. All right. But Amazon is now tracking warehouse workers, and it will fire them if they violate the social distancing rules. Okay. And they get one warning. Now, a lot of people probably want to be fired, but then can they get any kind of benefits? How are they going to pay their bills, So when I was telling you about the plasma treatment, this is kind of like the Cuomo treatment. Because Cuomo keeps saying, and he said today, that everybody's going to have to be tested. That sounds like medical martial law. Tested one way or another with some kind of a blood test, all right? And either you're going to have the antibodies to fight this thing, you won't have caught it and recovered, or you will currently have it. Like, those are the 3 things you're going to be tested for. All of that is very problematic to me. However, these blood transfusions and treatments, if they work, better than a vaccine. Still don't want, a vaccine. And they keep trying to push. And when I say they, every single media outlet. You notice what we don't push here. forced medical martial law or vaccines. We don't. That's not what I'm pushing. So a lot of people can, have whatever opinion they want of me, but I'm being 100% real with you. So New York City, notice I said de Blasio is admitting that the death toll could be higher because they are not testing these people post-mortem. And that's important because they were not testing these people post-mortem. And now with what's going on over in Pennsylvania, a large home where there's going to be an outbreak, you have to wonder if they're actually going to test them again post-mortem. So he was actually out there with a bandana today. That's the next big push, the bandana. He was outside when he did this. Again, the New York City deaths are probably much higher than that. And let me show you why. Yes, that's right. The mass graves are now being filmed, guys. I want to get it out of the way. There they are. So, and they're in hazmat suits. That's the other thing. They're in hazmat suits. This isn't like when they were digging the mass graves for HIV, and I'll show you that. That's the big difference here. Remember when I told you that the Intercept was reporting that they were going to be paying prisoners $6 an hour, inmates? And that's exactly what they are. Inmates in hazmat suits digging mass graves 3 stacks deep. We can talk about the drones screaming at people. We can talk about the military presence. But it's time to talk about the mass graves and the hazmat suits. Because they may not have done it in the park, like I said. But this is, real. So, again, so everybody knows, about what happened in the 80s, especially in cities. And, let's be honest, it was largely the homosexual population of New York City that you're seeing here. There are others, but not nearly as many. And so when they didn't know what to do at a time, they used Hart Island for these mass graves. Well, this is stacking up a lot quicker, and I'm telling you that's for real. They do have family. People don't understand. Once people die of this, now this used to be a place where they did have people buried there that, were prisoners, don't have families. But now, we're talking about just makeshift to put them there. They're saying they're going to redig them up. Whether they do that ever or not, who knows? They may burn them, and you may get an urn, like in China, because that's what the World Health Organization is praising. And that's why this channel is not allowed to talk about the truth. All right? So Fauci here is admitting we're never going back to normal. This guy is a demon. He did say there would be a surprise outbreak. That's a real thing. I do not like Fauci. I don't think anybody should. He's been dishonest the whole time. We're going to get into some clips in a bit, guys. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. And guys, I'll say it again. Fully demonetized. Fully. So if you want, again, make a donation, make a comment, and our next AMA, we will go through this and do the comments and questions from there first. That's definitely number one. Now, here's something I was bringing up. A lot of people don't understand this, but I'm from upstate New York. Okay? Now, not here in Oneonta, but 60 miles away from here, where I went to high school, in Montgomery County, there is a large Amish community. When I was 12 years old and moved from Dutchess County, the first thing I saw in my new house, which was like a Grand Union parking lot, a little plaza, a little patch of land, was an Amish family with a horse having a picnic on my lawn. So I thought to myself, well, I'm wondering how the Amish are doing, because, we can talk about pre-existing conditions and health, but one thing the Amish are known for is not only that they're pretty damn healthy, they don't have autism rates, right? And they don't take vaccines. So now, Amish families are ignoring this, as you can expect, because they're stuck in their own little communities. Now, they do come out to other communities, sell things, interact with people, etc. But they're largely ignoring this. And I'm wondering if they're going to end up having one case. Why am I saying that? I guess, yes, at some level, 100% this is a bioweapon, but these are people with strong immune systems, and they don't interact much with society anyway. They don't get sick much anyway. it's a story I'm definitely following. I mean, the Orwellian aspect of this is they're being shamed for, being amongst each other in their very closed and close-knit communities. Wanted to point this out that for some reason, Biden is convening with these shadow war room continuity of government types. He was on that phone call with Trump. This man should never control anything. He is a frail, fragile, old establishment puppet that is clearly going through dementia. And even Trump placating to the fact that they had a good phone call, to me, is not a great thing. Okay. So, now it's coming out everywhere that, maybe this was, from a lab. So, but the problem is that news outlets can kind of hint at this and talk about this and even have people on television discussing it until the World Health Organization says it. Apparently, YouTube can't monetize my channel. And by the way, Team YouTube did, gave me the standard nonsense tweet back yesterday. Lovely people over there. And when we do talk about it being a bioweapon, I want to continue to emphasize, when I say bioweapon, I don't think it's a sponsored release is by a nation state. Not by China, not by the U.S., not by Israel, but by the predator class. Okay? And when you talk about, I know a lot of people are talking about, and that video is circulating, and I've covered the story of the Harvard professor who also, other than bioweapons, was also into nanotech. That's real. And these two Chinese students of him, not Chinese students, being arrested. But, the other part of that story is that it wasn't just Harvard. It was Yale. It was China. It was Saudi Arabia. It's a network, man. And to label it as an operation by a nation state instead of a deep state cabal that supersedes nation states, especially because, again, I got to listen to the World Health Organization. I got to listen to the United Nations. All these people are saying the solution is world government, right? People like Henry Kissinger here. Oh, and you can say what you want about RT, but this is the perfect headline. Kissinger says, even U.S. can't defeat COVID-19 alone. His solution, global NWO government, of course. It's been the universal solution they pushed after every crisis I've seen. But, I'm kooky. What's this? I'm not even sure what this is. I might have missed this one. What's this one? Oh, yeah, these are some great people you need to be following. And I like to see blue check marks actually trying to promote, actual independent media. So I've talked about the pollution aspect of these lockdowns. There's science out there that the frequencies, the Earth's buzzing, has been affected by the massive reduction in human activity lately. We're an ecosystem, baby. Believe it. Real deal. All right? Now, I keep saying this. You talk about the underlying conditions. Yes, that's true. The comorbidities. Yes, that's true. But it seems to be affecting men greater. And even the 6 out of 10, I forget which mayor, or I think it was a mayor out there. Maybe it was San Francisco. There's evidence out there that more African Americans are dying. Again, Cuomo was asked today about the data on race, and that's really not been available to the public. But you can't believe any of the numbers they're telling you anyway. Okay, and aside from YouTube demonetizing my channel and many others over the last week, and some at the very same time yesterday, they're also now taking down videos that talk about the connection between coronavirus and 5G. Now, I'm not one of those people that's pushed that connection. In fact, I've been very, very critical of it. But the idea that now those videos all of a sudden are going to be taken down, I'm never for what? Less speech. If you are a liar, you need to be called out on your lies. All right? More speech is the answer. Period. And I'm telling you right now, guys like this at the World Health Organization, they don't care about more speech. I'm telling you. Listen to what this guy wants to do, because if you don't think the medical martial law can get bad and that this is about to end, we're far from over here. We're far, far from over. And this guy is advocating in a respectful manner taking you out of your house and putting you somewhere. And you wonder why I don't want to take tests of any sort. I just want to be left alone before we go back to normal. But apparently that's not going to be an option if we're listening to the World Health Organization.
Most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
In a safe and dignified manner, like the Chinese, so they can lie about the numbers. It's reality, guys. So I want to play this as well.
The Surgeon General is now admitting something that you have been saying for a while.
And let me pause this. I'm sorry. I would have rather not started with that, but basically, watch this guy here and what he has to say. He's basically advocating for the same thing. Take you away from your family. Where was it? About 3 minutes, I think.
Boards with chlorine showers and everything, but you have to take it off carefully because it can contaminate you. The other thing they did all over Asia is for the mild cases, the mild to moderate cases, in other words, people who did not need to be hospitalized, they didn't go home. They went into isolation centers. They went, we have all sorts of empty buildings around now. Madison Square Garden is empty. The Barclays Center is empty. High school gymnasiums all over the city are empty. Those become sort of miniature hospitals for the people who are infected but don't need to be put into a hospital because that way they don't infect their own families.
Now, again, this thing has been so spread, and they're saying, well, once you've infected, you can't get it again. Now they're trying to roll that back. They're saying this could be seasonal. The goalpost is always moving. Okay, you understand? By these officials. And what's he saying? He wants you out of your house. Huh? Well, let me ask you something. Should you drag Chris Cuomo out of his house right now? He's got some mild symptoms. Put him over in the Barclays Center. And, let's mute this because I know exactly where I need to go. And here's the thing that starts to really scare me. We talked about Fauci and this quote-unquote new normal and getting there. So he's talking about restarting society, but this all has to do with basically what sounds like mandatory testing. Mandatory testing of your blood. And if you're going to mandatorily test me, well, what do you expect to do? Mandatorily make me take a vaccine after the fact if I've never been infected? And even if I have been infected, we don't know.
Our economy and get everything up and running as quickly as possible. My personal opinion is going to come down to how good we are with testing. You're not going to end the infection and end the virus before you start restarting life. I don't think you have that luxury. How do you start the economy back up? How do you start getting back to work as quickly as possible? It's going to come down to testing. You're going to have to know who had the virus, who resolved the virus, who never had it, and that's going to be testing.
Who never had it, and that's going to be tested. You hear him?
And that is an entirely new field that we're just developing now, right? New York State Department of Health developed an antibody testing regimen that Department of Health has approved for use in New York State. That has to be brought to scale, and the Department of Health is going to be working with the FDA to do just that.
So once again, what do they expect to do? That they're going to test every single person in New York State? And then what? See, this whole thing has gotten fucking out of control. I get it, and I'm not a denier that this is affecting a massive amount of people. If you're a denier that this is real and people are not dying from this and they're cooking it up and you're falling for the grifters out there, I'm sorry. That's not the case. I want to reiterate this. There's a reason, I started with the stories, and this was about the funeral homes and de Blasio admitting that the death toll could actually be higher because they're not testing them after they die and then adding them to the death toll. And that they have reopened Hart Island, okay? So everybody out here, again, not realizing that this is going to touch your life in a way you can't imagine. It is. It is. I'm going to do an update with the nurses probably tomorrow, all right, talk to them. But I'm still not for medical martial law with all of this. I'm for real information. I'm for letting people know that you want a healthy immune system, that you don't want to be vitamin C and D deficient, that you probably do want to exercise, that if you do get this, hydroxychloroquine maybe, with the Z-Packs, maybe something you want to get into, especially if you're sick, all right? There are other antivirals, if you can get them to give you the MSC, the stem cell treatment, but especially the intravenous vitamin C that really has been shut to the side, and steroid treatments, okay? So once again, no fake news here, guys, just reality. And because of that, I've been completely demonetized. So thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. If you can, give to the GoFundMe. Again, what we're going to do on the next AMAs is get your questions and comments in here. There's only 11, and we'll whip through those on the next AMA. But get them in, and those will be like the super chats. If they want to take super chats away from me, I'll refresh this every once in a while, and we'll go through the super chats as well. So this is the only way I can think to do it. I've got to try to make that $5K a month for my family. Gotta try to do it. So also make sure you're subscribed, and then I'm gonna put this in there as well. Right now, there's an exclusive where I went over a ton of other COVID 1984 information today. It's going to be premium tomorrow, guys, and that'd be great if you endorsed me and you paid the $9.99 a month, and you get everybody else. It's not like a Patreon or Subscribe Star where it's just Jason Burmis' stuff, right? No. You get John Fitch. You get Graham Elwood, Ron Placone, The Convo Couch, Action for Assange, a whole bunch of other great creators on Rockfin as well. And you can make a free account right now and follow me for free. Go check this out for free. So with that being said, guys, I love you. Keep your head on straight. Keep reaching for the truth, man. And, do your best with one of the weirdest, wildest times in human history. See you on the flip.